2025 meeting of the North Liberty Library Board of Trustees to order. First item on the agenda is additions, changes to the agenda. Does anyone have any additions or changes to the agenda? No? Next item is public comment. Seeing no one in the gallery other than our guest tonight, we'll move on to the next item, the approval of minutes from October. We do have a quorum of the group that was here in October. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from October?
I move to approve.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Hearing no nays, the October minutes passed. Next item on the agenda is staff introduction. We're joined tonight by Kelly Forkenbrock, the Public Services Librarian. Thank you for joining us, Kelly.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Good evening. I'm Kelly Forkenbrock, and I am Public Services Librarian at North Liberty Library. I've been with the library for just about 6 years. I'm here today to talk about a webinar I had the pleasure of attending last month called Let's Debrief, Library Incident Support for Frontline Staff. What follows is my summarization of that webinar. The purpose of the webinar was to highlight the need for debriefing processes and procedures so that library staff can use those in the event of an emergency or an incident. Now, these instances can include anything, including a physical conflict, verbal confrontation, or even a patron's illness or death. As public servants, it is vital for us to know how to process any incident in a way that shows care for both self and fellow staff members. So let's take a deeper look into the art of debriefing and how that can look in our library. So here's just a quick agenda of what we'll cover. We'll first define what debriefing is. We'll take a look at some of the benefits and best practices. Next, we'll look at impacts and opportunities, and then we'll also look at what next steps are. I do have a resources list that I can also pass on to any attendees who are interested in diving deeper, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So what exactly is debriefing? So debriefing is simply an opportunity to explore ways we as a staff can become more collectively resilient, especially in our current times and everything that libraries are going through and everything that we come to serve for our public. It's important that our staff has a chance to process any types of incidences that would happen at the library. It also, debriefing also gives us an opportunity to de-escalate any given incident so that our response is a balance between empathy and maintaining a safe space for all. Lastly, it underscores the importance of returning to baseline after the incident, which prevents staff burnout and increases staff retention. There are several benefits to the debriefing process. It gives us time to process an incident that's overlooked for the sake of work efficiency. We sometimes, I think we've all done this in our personal lives where we come into an incident or a conflict and we either work through it or eat through it, or find a way to bypass the processing that needs to happen when we experience an incident that is less than kind. So debriefing allows space for a time to deconstruct what occurred from a renewed viewpoint. It also prevents the tendency to just linger or ruminate over an incident. That when we ruminate over an incident, it keeps our staff at high alert and ultimately starts the burnout process. With debriefing, there is less chance of a buildup, less chance of resentment, or any other significant adverse effect following the incident. And lastly, it creates that baseline I referred to earlier. Debriefing allows time to review any necessary information or documentation related to the incident in a methodical and care-filled manner. So what does debriefing look like in action? So we are currently working on creating what's called a debriefing document. The presenters of the webinar provided templates for these documents, which were very, very useful in creating one based on our current policies and procedures. Basically, this debriefing document would be a set of guidelines on how to conduct a debriefing session with a fellow colleague. It helps us to decide who should be involved in the debrief and also provide some guiding questions for a deeper dialogue. So this document would set the stage for an open dialogue that will hopefully lead to resolution and a path forward. It's also important to know that emotional regulation can be challenging during debriefing sessions. Therefore, some ways that we want to make sure that we stay within the context of the incident being discussed is to have water and tissues available for it so that people feel comfortable being emotional and vulnerable in these situations. We also ask, that people ground themselves before a session, whether that's just some light breathing or just taking a moment in silence before going into the dialogue, and also just being aware of any awkwardness that will happen. All of this is emotional regulation, and all of this is these are very natural expressions of emotions for people who may be recalling or rehashing an incident that was very traumatizing. Now, although debriefing is about deconstructing an incident from the past, this also is not a time to focus on what I like to call the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. The focus should be on future behaviors. And it's about what we can accomplish in the future, not berating ourselves for what has already occurred in the past. And last but not least, I always invite that if we need to take some time after the debrief to debrief, kind of like taking a vacation after your vacation. Something as simple as taking a walk, grabbing a snack, or just being, ending just as we started the debrief session with some breathing, with some mindfulness, whatever is accessible to the person at the time. Now, debriefing does come with some risk. For us, I think that it would be mindful to mitigate these risks by remembering the following. Number one, this is only one piece of the puzzle. Debriefing is just one part of the process. It does not take the place of a healthcare professional's care and advice. So it's important that we understand that this is debriefing, not counseling. This is just one piece of an overall process if needed. Also, it's also just an opportunity to look at the debriefing process as a way to extend staff support among one another. I think when we keep those two guidelines in mind, we're able to have a successful debriefing process. We're not looking at it as an end-all, be-all, or we're not looking at it as a replacement for medical help if needed. And it's just a way to just extend support to our staff. So what does debriefing look like at North Liberty Library? Well, here are some of the next steps we've decided on. As I mentioned, we are currently working on a debriefing document based on the template provided by the speakers. And then once we have a draft of that prepared, we will then review the debriefing process with staff to make sure that they understand it. They've already been presented this presentation at our previous full-time staff meeting. I've also briefed our part-time staff members as well so that they know that this is something that is coming. So we'll continue. After we work on the document, we would then review it with staff. Once we have it finalized on the library level, we then want to introduce it to the city staff for their use if they decide to use it. We will then add the debriefing process to our training materials. And lastly, we would review the debriefing process on an annual basis. This would more than likely be a part of my own review to make sure that the guidelines that we have in place are still effective in the upcoming year. Here are some of the resources that were that were get offered. They're all hyperlinked, so I will be glad to forward this slide to anyone who wants it. Just giving you more updates on what debriefing looks like in library spaces. And now I'd like to open it up to any questions.
How often, just as an average, do you think incidents are happening to a degree that would require a debrief session?
Well, I will preface this by saying that North Liberty Library, as you know, we're a very empathetic group, and I could totally see, you know, there's big T trauma and little T trauma. And I think the little T trauma, it can be impactful for us. So like the death of a patron who is who is unhoused, and where, you know, maybe one of our staff members are kind of struggling with that challenge, helping them debrief that. So it could literally be anything from something that would impact a patron directly to something that is maybe not as impactful to the typical library staff. But I think because we hold that empathy, I would say we might be dealing with one a month, like maybe at the most. I would say that if we had to put a number on it.
And does the individual who's impacted have to essentially raise their hand and say, I would really benefit from a debrief? Or is it more of an external set of support that's coming in to help kind of somebody identified as needing to go through the process?
Well, I'll defer to Jenny on that. I assume that if we would offer it to them, not force it upon them if they didn't want to participate.
I think it'll go both ways. So they'll know that it's available to them, but also I think as a team, especially the supervisors, Kelly and Jen and myself particularly, will be monitoring to see if there's something that has occurred. I mean, for instance, we just recently had a really nasty phone call of someone, just a bad, like, not nice. It was yucky.
Yeah.
One of our staff took the call, and it wasn't personal. And she knew that it wasn't personal, but it still was kind of gross.
Yeah.
Just she ended up, ending the call, hanging up on the person, but just things like that. So
Yeah.
does she need to talk to someone a little bit more about that conversation and what happened that night?
Yeah. I think that's a perfect example of a less than kind situation that happens again. It may not be big T or little t. You can't really classify it that way, but it is something that's impactful. I mean, we have policies and things in place with our training on how to manage uncomfortable calls or harassment calls. But the debriefing part, I think, is what just kind of brings it all together, too.
Do they talk to you? I was not expecting that. Do they give you guys some examples of how to, like, proactively set the staff up for, for feeling comfortable, for understanding, like, some of the skills that they can utilize in that scenario, in the debriefing, like the breath work?
Well, the webinar, which I have access to a video and the PowerPoints from it, so I can always dig deeper in those materials. But the webinar gave examples of libraries currently using it. So I think every library kind of creates their own style. Yeah. And I think our team is very capable of coming up with language to moderate and facilitate these types of debriefings.
And also Kelly has yoga and Pilates background.
Yes. So I'm all about
some skill.
So there's already the back.
Some good skill.
That's why I think the grounding portion at the beginning and especially at the end, I think is just so important. I mean, I'm kind of woo woo, so I mean, I don't.
I'm totally
if people don't want to start with breathing, that's fine. We can go right into the dialogue. It's whatever you want to do, but that option is there. So I think of it when we're talking about these final materials. I'm thinking of it as kind of a menu of things. Like, these are the core things we want to hit during these debriefs, but then, we can ground. That is open to you. We can start this any way you want. If you just feel better just spitting it out and being done with it, we can meet you at that level too.
I was just thinking of how much, like, when you mentioned just even seeing so many, people that are unhoused, or like the last month during the government shutdown, seeing you guys are kind of frontline staff to, front line to a lot of that. And As like amazing as I think that this is for the incident, I just think you guys fully deserve.
Yes, it's about knowing that you deserve the opportunity to debrief, because we have policies and procedures in place to keep our library a safe space for ourselves as well as our patrons. But it's really that aftercare element that I think is missing, and that's why debriefing just sounds. And especially, it's just it's the vibe of our library. We're very empathetic, very caring. We're led by caring people. So this just kind of falls in line with the culture of our library and the culture of our community. Any additional questions?
Could I get the access to the links that you provide?
Oh, absolutely. I will send it to everyone.
You can
great.
send
Thank
them
you.
to me or, yeah, to the whole the board, or just to me, and I can forward them on.
Sure. Sounds good. I'll forward it to Jenny and she can get it to you. They are very good resources. I think we're continuing. We're still working through the process of what this looks like. But it seems like our staff is on board with it. They seemed really receptive to the presentation 2 weeks ago when we met. So I'm hoping we can have this launched by 2026, by the start of the new year.
What's really cool on those resources is Bobby Newman, one of the people
Yeah.
listed, the author listed there, is actually a University of Iowa person, newly elected to the Iowa Library Association, so a
Amazing.
local.
Yeah, Bobby Newman, that's the care and consideration.
Rhonda Pitchford is someone who I've worked with multiple times and is just like a powerhouse. you
Yeah,
know.
these are great resources. Bobby's article here. This is an American Library Association's magazine, and it really breaks down what libraries are facing on all levels, especially public libraries. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to building this out and updating you 6 to 8 months or so.
Kelly.
All right.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is the library director report.
All right. So just lots of excitement going on. We have new computers coming in to replace all of our patron workstations, or most of them now. We're getting 4 for the adults. We just have old laptops right now that have been kind of pieced together. So we decided that it was time. We have some computer technology funding in our budget. So we decided to get, they're just all tiny microcomputers that are going to be on most of the adult and kids stations, 2 in the teen lounge, because we have 2 currently working and 2 that were not working in there, so we're adding 2 back. And then
Windows or Chromebook or
the old ones in there?
the new ones?
No, not Chromebooks. They're just like little microcomputers.
What Windows computers?
Windows. Oh yeah,
Okay.
Windows. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to get a cold. My ears are plugging up, so I can almost. It's almost like I'm in a bucket talking to you guys right now. And then we just got a new computer for the youth desk as well, because that computer is also quite old, and so it'll be much more functional and helpful for the team who sit at that desk. So I have more updates to this. We're checking on updating our handicap door buttons. I'm hoping to get more accessibility to those. Currently, Corey noted to me that the single door isn't wide enough for the wide wheelchair like we offer in the building. So in order to use it, we have to, if someone's using that and to get out of the building, we have to have 3 people, 2 people to help open the doors and somebody to push or whatever to get people in and out. Also, it only opens one side, so I'm hoping to see if we can find one that will open both sides at the same time for a little bit longer, because right now sometimes one will shut before the other one opens, and it's not a very wide entrance. So just all the things we're hoping to get it, and it's at its max speed now that it can be at to open, and it's really slow if you're standing there. So we're hoping to do that. In the meantime, in the last month, or in the last week and a half since I wrote this, our front doors have decided to just not work at all from the outside. So we can't scan in. If we have a key, which I think 4 staff have keys still from old remnants, they can get in, but otherwise we have to go around to the rec center to get into the building, into the library right now. And then we have to zip tie the push bars to keep them open during the day. So it's
lovely.
a little bit not very nice looking to have the zip ties on it, but I do have, Mark had already been working on quotes, our maintenance guy, so he had a quote for a power hinge, which I'm learning a lot about doors. And then I spoke to a locksmith last week who said that there's a much less expensive idea to fix that. So looks like I just got an email while I was sitting here tonight before the meeting started, and it won't be until December 5th that they can get in to fix our doors. So it'll be a little while that the staff will kind of be limping along, but at least they'll hopefully get it fixed. And then our office door, the door that goes into our workroom, which is locks, is not closing without pushing or pulling it shut. Now, it just happened. It just keeps getting worse, and Mark's fixed it a couple of times. So now that door, which is called apparently a door strike, has to be replaced or repaired some way too. So those are all going on at the same time. And then next week on the 4th, another update on building stuff that was not on the radar when I was writing this is we have to have another water main shut off. We will not close this time. We're going to just see what it's like to stay open. We'll just warn people that the only restrooms and water will be in the conference center and the rec side. So folks are welcome to come in and hang out, but they will not have access to restrooms or drinking fountain during the 3-hour repair time. But we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be just fine. And we are going to put out plenty of publicity and then have a lot of signage up that day as well. So Civic Plus is a new software that we're getting that helps with agenda management for boards and commissions for cities, municipalities, and it helps us stay in compliance with open meetings laws. We are in the middle of learning about this now. I'm learning a lot already. We will be doing some changing to the way the agenda looks. Tracy was giving them information about our agenda and informed me that indeed the first item on our agenda, which is additions and changes, is actually not legal. We can't do additions and changes at the beginning of a meeting, apparently. So we won't be doing that anymore, among other things. But she has an example of our meeting agendas, and then she'll be working with me. And what I'm gathering will happen is that I will work in conjunction with the president to create the agenda, but it will be me creating the agenda rather than you. And I am responsible for notes as well, or for minutes, which are very brief. Like we do a really good job with our minutes. And so the secretary's role is really to make sure the minutes are taken accurately by me.
Oh.
So that will be interesting. So you can continue on the way you are, but I will be the one that will be clicking and reporting. And they've told me that it's very easy, and I'm sure it will be all fine. All just very new.
Will that change the way, like the use of SharePoint to send out board packets and things like that too?
I don't know. We haven't even had any training yet. The training will be coming, and then during that training, Tracy is also going to do some training on other areas of meeting operations too. So more to come on that. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up that things will be shifting. I don't think the full shift will happen until that March meeting, unless they want us to do more ahead of time for me to begin the minute process. I assume I won't start doing any of that until we have the software in place.
So is there a process in place? I mean, I get why the additions and changes probably aren't appropriate, because you could, in theory, sneak something in that
Yes.
wasn't in there. Whereas, obviously, most of the time, it's us correcting obvious errors where, like, the wrong month is in the minutes. What's going to be the mechanism for that?
I think that would just go under just like the minutes, like when you do the minutes, you would offer a correction, and then it would be approved based on that correction.
Okay.
I would assume. The main thing with that is, like Tracy said, you can still talk about something, raise a point, like down in new business or whatever. You just can't do a vote. You can't have something that requires a vote.
Yeah, there has to be a pretty substantial reason for an agenda to be changed under the
Yes.
open meetings laws.
Okay.
You have to do that at least like 24 hours ahead of time.
So,
Makes sense.
so that will all be interesting and new for all of us, learning together. And then just a community update, you should have all gotten an invitation to the legislative reception, which is coming up on Monday night at 5:30 at the Iowa City Public Library. I would love to have some of you there. If you're
Is there an
able to,
RSVP or we just show up?
just show up.
Very good.
It'll be great. The theme is We Are Community. Melanie and, well, I created the slide, sort of created the slideshow, and then Melanie fixed it and made it better for me. Once I got people to submit their slides. So we also have invited the directors from all the libraries are invited, of course, on the library boards, and then the Board of Supervisors, legislators, and City Council. I have heard back from at least one City Council person who's planning to attend, so I was excited about that. Hopefully there'll be more as well. Getting ready to send out the annual appeal letter. Melanie has made the beautiful FY25 Community Impact Report, which is really just some gorgeous pictures and numbers this year. It's really simple and pretty, elegant looking. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And then typically what we do is when we send out the appeal letter, the board members will have thank you cards and packets with envelopes and stamps. And if anybody needs those, I can get them for you. And then as we get donations, I'll send out a call for folks to help write those. And if anybody needs the script or any of those things, I can get that to all of you. And then if anybody is willing to come in at any time to assist with stuffing or take
When would that need to be done?
sometime in the month of December.
Okay, so
I'll put
my
it-
Wednesday evenings can,
Yeah, I'll put a shout
Can
out.
be.
I'll put a shout out for people could pick them up and take some home, or come in and hang out for an hour or two in the library, or whatever you want to do. Typically, the staff does a lot of it at the desk too, but I'd love to take some of that off of their plate.
Yeah.
As we get closer, I think I want to say we sent out near 1,000 last year letters, so it's quite a few for them to fold and stuff, and it's a lot less expensive for us to do it than to have them done by someone else. So we've managed. And then this, to meet the needs of the 3 community pantries with the shutdown, the Table to Table had suspended their partnership with us as of October 31st. They came today without telling us they were coming back and brought us great fruit and new things. So they're back apparently now. So we had been purchasing from Costco. Emily was making trips to Costco for us because she has the purchase card for the library. And then getting like granola bars and fruit from Costco the last few weeks. But it's happy news that they are back at it with us. The Optimist Club did donate funds to purchase snacks. So, and with the thought that they knew that it may be we may have an overage. And so those funds can be used in other ways to do youth services and programming. Awesome. Kayla had that discussion with them when they requested the funds. And then just professional development, just sharing that I participated in some practice interviews with library science students, which was a lot of fun. We had one of the interview people on the panel with me was somebody out on the East Coast, and then myself, and then another local librarian. Did an online interview with a person who's hoping to get an interview for a job in Cedar Falls. And that was a lot of fun. We are setting up the corridor library staff in service. I sent that invitation as well. If anyone's interested in attending, you are welcome. We are trying to keep a head count, so just let me know if you're planning to attend, and we will look forward to that day. My friend Michael Holman will be here speaking, presenting, and then somebody from every library will be here talking about intellectual freedom and frontline advocacy work. And then I included an article on AI the role of libraries in AI work, which was I thought was really interesting. So I just included that in the packet, I hope. And then only additional I have to my professional development stuff that I'm very excited that I'll tell you more about as I get to know is I was invited by the Council for Civic Strength, which I've been serving on for about 3 years with Daniel Allen, who has the Allen Lab for Democracy at Harvard. I was invited to go to Harvard in January to do a Libraries in Democracy, the role of libraries in democracy,
Awesome.
helping to plan curricula for the libraries library students at Harvard, and then eventually they're hoping that will go out into a national level. But it's people from Harvard, people from the local Cambridge Public Library, and then they asked us if we knew some people. I gave a couple names of some folks in the Boston area.
That's amazing.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
They've offered to pay my way to get there, so I've talked to Ryan about it, and he has approved that, but more to come on that, but it's a really exciting opportunity.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's it for me. I just have the staff reports if anyone has questions about any of those. I would point out the Cortico grant that I talked to you guys about last time that Nick is doing with MIT and Cortico. They're in the works and planning for that right now. There'll be some travel for them in January. I think they're in Cambridge like the week after me or the week before me in January, so that's kind of funny also. Yeah, I guess it's a week after or 2 weeks after. So then if anyone has any questions about any of the other.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the policy review, starting with the library conduct policy.
So I believe, I don't think that there are any recommended changes to the conduct policy. I think we all felt pretty comfortable with the way that one looked, unless you guys saw anything that needed to be updated.
Do we need to vote to keep it the same, or
I think you just approve it.
so it's just
I mean,
I move to approve the policy, the library conduct policy as reflected in the board packet.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing no nays, it is approved. The next item is the art display policy.
Is this
So,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
the main change is just to basically meet the law, House File, whatever it was, 896 or whatever.
I wore the right shirt for that. My shirt says radical belonging. I was like, didn't even plan that. So.
I love that shirt. So yes, I changed the wording. I really love actually the word multiplicity.
It's so
and
good.
Justice, so it works.
I get it.
I move to accept the policy as indicated in the packet.
A second.
A second.
All approved, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing no nays, the policy is approved. Next item on the agenda is new business. Does anyone have new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
We are adjourned.
All right.